have you prepared your materials for the project?
Yes, of course.
Let's start.
Here's what I managed to find. The unique Maya civilization appeared on the basis of earlier cultures that existed on the Pacific coast. These are the Olmecs, who lived on the shores of the Gulf of Mexico from the 2nd millennium BC to the 5th century AD. Zapotecs and other people. The Maya people chose the warm and comfortable territories that are part of modern Mexico and Central America. In the period from 1800 to 200 BC, the tribe developed very quickly. The first major centers were the cities of El Mirador, Nacbe, and Tikal. Many of their architectural structures and even the entire cities are still found today on the Yucatan Peninsula, in Panama, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Do you know what unites the Maya people with corn? According to scientists, it was corn that catalyzed the development of the Maya civilization. The Maya not only learned to cultivate corn but also to prepare it for consumption using nixtamalization. This complex process involves several stages, initially drying the corn, then soaking it, and then finally cooking it in an alkaline solution. As a result, it becomes soft and suitable for consumption. In addition, they cultivated beans, squash, and other vegetables. This period in Maya history is referred to as the preclassic era, characterized by the emergence of small clay sculptures and the ceramics produced by settled communities.
Ancient Maya were not only a single empire with one ruler. Their territory, starting from 250 BC, was divided into city-states. Also, tribes were long considered harmless, peacefully coexisting farmers. Historians later concluded that the population constantly engaged in conflict with each other and their neighbor over territory. At the same time, the social structure began to transform. The emerging society was sharply divided into commoners, slaves, laborers, serfs, and farmers, and of course the elite. Magical rituals came to be performed exclusively by one group of people, purportedly endowed with supernatural powers.
Around 150 BC, the large city of El Mirador already occupied an area of 16 square kilometers. Numerous altars, huge pyramid complexes were built on its squares, and paved avenues crossed it. El Mirador was one of the first Mayan capitals. Tikal was slightly inferior to the capital, which by 350 had become one of the most important centers of civilization.
The two most important political centers of the Maya of the end of the 1st millennium BC and the 1st century AD were located in the center of Maya land, on the territory of the current Guatemalan department of Petén. It's the central and the southern Yucatan. There were the cities that we know as Tikal and Huaxtutan. Their builders discovered a way to obtain a solution from a mixture of lime, sand, and water, which with they began to build stone walls. Then the famous pyramid E7 was built in Huaxcatún, as well as painted buildings and tombs in Tikal.
The heyday of the Maya people occurred from 300 to 600 CE, known as the Early Classic period. It is marked by the appearance of the first dates on monuments, the construction of buildings with Maya arches, and the production of polychrome ceramics in distinctive forms. Trade also played a significant role, as the Maya traded obsidian, jade, and their sculptures throughout the Yucatan and with El Salvador. They imported gold from Panama and Colombia to Chichen Itza, and they supplied turquoise to New Mexico.
Moreover, during this period, the Maya built roads connecting cities. One of them is 100 kilometers long and is considered an engineering marvel. Judge for yourself that the road was made of stones and covered with plaster, but the most importantly that it glowed in the dark.
Maya society was also deeply religious, and is reflected in their architecture and the art. I found a book about Maya rituals. We can take a look and see if you find something interesting. So there is a section on medicine, architecture, rituals, and the art.
Let's move on to the rituals, then return to the other sections.
The main book of the Maya was called Popol Vuh, which narrates the creation of the world, and the hero twins, Hanafu and Eskabling, considered mythical ancestors of the ruling family.
The intermediaries between the inhabitants of the supernatural realm and the world of the living were the deceased ancestors, as well as shamans. Oh, here's something else hidden. It's an Khan. It's an Mual.
What's happening?
Why did you disturb me?
Ramilia, what did you read?
I don't know.
Who are you?
I'm Malinali from Mayan province.
We're so sorry, we didn't mean to summon you.
It happened by an accident.
We were just gathering information about the Maya civilization, and here we are. So, can you help us since it's turned out this way?
Well, what would you like to know?
Can you tell us about your beliefs?
The gods created the world several times, and each time it perished during the flood. The internal struggle of good and evil constitute the universe. The good brought abundance, fertility, and rain, and the evil brought wars, hurricanes, and drought. According to my beliefs, the universe was divided into heaven, where there were certain levels, the mortal world located between heaven and hell, and the underworld with the 9 levels. The 4 cardinal directions were present at each level and were indicated in different colors: west, black; south, yellow; east, red; and north, white. Shibalba was the name of the underworld, translated as place of fear. The Shibalba entered through a cave or area of standing water in Turtle Pack, which was the first of the 9 levels on the underworld. The Milky Way was also the entrance to Shibalba and the road along which souls walked toward their destiny.
Tell us, is that why ziggurats with 9 levels were built, as the embodiment of 9 levels of the underworld?
Right, the underworld was huge. To reach the 9th level, the dead had to go through many trials and dangers. To help the soul survive such an ordeal, the dead were buried or cremated with many useful items, such as food, jails, weapons, tools, or even dogs that acted as companions or guides.
One of the most striking images of Xibalba is found on the sarcophagus of the king of Palenque, Pascal the Great, dating from 683 AD, found in the depths of the Temple of Inscription in Palenque. There are 670 hieroglyphs in the pyramid which tell us about the rules of Palenque and about the life of Pakal. Pakal's sarcophagus was found in 1852. There were many precious stones inside, and Pascal's face was decorated with a giant mark. On the lid of the sarcophagus there was a picture of Pakal going to the afterlife.
Well, what about blood sacrifices?
Sacrifice was an important rite of sending messengers in order to maintain the balance of the cosmos and to honor the gods. That's why a powerful source was needed, such as blood. Human sacrifices required many important ceremonies such as the coronation of a new ruler or the start of major construction projects.
And can you tell us about the ceremony of coronation?
Well, the kings were identified with the god of corn. The young prince was given the title Chak. At the age of 5, the heir to the throne was given bloodletting, which symbolized the success of the future warrior and ruler in battle. The enthronement was a very difficult ceremony. First, a pillow made of jaguar skin was placed on the throne, followed by a human sacrifice, and the new king received the symbols of his power: a scepter, quetzal bird feather, which decorated an elaborate headdress, and a belt. The ruler was called a Javkohol, which meant to be a divine lord. Among the members of the royal family were scribes, called tsikhba.
A representative of the Maya elite were literate, having developed a complex system, the most developed system of hieroglyphs written in pre-Columbian America. The Maya were the first to use zero in mathematics. One of the most infamous and important achievements is the calendar. It includes three dating systems, one for the god, another for civilian life, and the third one astronomical. As a rule, when talking about the Mayan calendar, of course I mean the astronomical one, according to which humanity was created on August 11, 3115 BC. The new cycle of this calendar began on December 21, 2012. This have raised to the myth that this date is the last day of mankind.
You said about scribes, but we also know that some military positions were hereditary. Special knowledge was passed on to the successors depending on their military role. They were taught strategy, rituals, and military dances. But the Maya didn't have a standing army. The local officials recruited warriors as needed in hired units from farmers who then returned to their agricultural duties, and the equipment of warriors was not very diverse either, and the main Maya weapons were spears and darts.
Maybe that was the reason that around 810 the city of Aguateca was attacked by an unknown army, which managed to burn down the royal palace, overcoming its defenses. As a result of archaeological excavations, many abandoned properties of elite residents were found, which suggests that they either fled or were captured and taken prisoner.
Oh, you're right. Most of the centers began to decline in the 9th and 10th centuries. Of course, the reason has a lot to do with the political structure, but the common population continued to live in the settlements of the central zone and remote areas.
No one, unfortunately, knows for sure the reason for the disappearance of the Indian people. The only hypothesis about this, according to main one, in 1551, there was an uprising of the leaders who lived in the cities near Fort Mayapan. This caused the degeneration of civilization and its transformation into disparate tribes. Then the conquistadors appeared. In 1516, Spanish ships landed on the unknown shore. From that moment, the fight for gold began. In 1547, the Maya were conquered, but some of the tribes managed to escape and hide in the center of Yucatan Peninsula, where they lived for 150 years. The disease that the Spanish brought with them caused outbreaks of epidemics, and Indians died by the millions.
But whatever happened, happened. However, the Mayas themselves have not disappeared to this day.
What was that? And what did she mean about the Maya not disappeared?
Apparently, over 6 million descendants of these people live in Central America. Moreover, they even speak the languages of their ancestors. The descendants of the tribe also have managed to preserve many traditions, including religious, agricultural, and land-related practices.
Yes, the resilience of Maya culture cannot be denied. Neither wars nor natural disasters, no European civilization on the continent destroyed them. Oh my god.
Happy Women's Day!